it's kind of like you make your own consistency. Like people don't expect you to post every day or even every other day. If you can like put out content every once a week, and that's you maintain the once a week, then you'll get your reach.
Welcome back to the Corner Talks podcast. I have my good friend here.
How's it going, man? Happy to be back.
No, it shouldn't be about anything. Like, this is one life.
Yep, one life? Like, fucking do it.
My guy.
Like, she just got it. She totally understood it.
20 years old when I started just watching a lot of movies.
And it tells a story. I want to tell a story.
Daniel and I, to give you guys some context, we went to high school together, St. Elizabeth, right? Represent. And it's been a while back. It's been quite a number of years. But like people, we were classmates, we were friends. We just pick up where we left off. And I'm really impressed. I told you this before the podcast began, just seeing your career, seeing your growth as an artist. I had even no idea you were in the arts or like a creative individual, but I guess you could say that about a lot of us, right? Which is what I was going to get into. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's a pleasure. We've back to what I was saying, like about, we haven't even, when we were in school, like talked about our passions or our creativity. And even if we did, it was never to the scale that it is now, like something to show for, right? I want to know, like, we never really had these conversations, but how did your passion for photography ever develop? Was it always there and you kind of kept it on the low key? Or did it just was it something you discovered maybe in the last few years?
So I say for high school, I don't think anybody would kind of discuss like arts in general. Like what it would be like movies or like photography or any type of art form, just like sticking to business, the norm. And like I was that too. I was sure you're like that too. And I've always like taken photos. Like because when I was younger, we would always go on family trips. And like when you're on family trips, you have nothing really to do. Yeah. So photography is like kind of a passion for me. Mm-hmm. So when I started to get more serious into it was, I think it was 2020, right before the pandemic. I was downtown with my dad and my brother. And it was the first time I brought my camera with me.
Nice.
Yeah. And I shot Chinatown for an hour or two. I kind of like discovered, because like we didn't really live in Toronto, but like I never thought of Toronto as a photographic city. Like I never thought I wanted to document it or I don't know, just like take photos of it.
Oh,
like,
wow. There was never that like motivation to go pursue something there. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause like I just never thought it was special. Like I bought my first camera in 2018 when I went to London, and I bought it specifically just for that. Just go for London, like, and shoot the scenery and the like architecture and stuff. Mm-hmm. And anyway, so this was right before the pandemic too. So after that day, I said to myself, I would make an effort to go to Toronto to take photos. And right as that happened, the pandemic hit. So like I was stuck inside, like, like all day.
Yep.
And I didn't, I don't know, I just kind of like shot outside of my neighborhood. Like I would go and shoot some panning at night, like just practice the techniques and stuff.
Yeah, because you do a lot of night photography, I noticed, right? Like that's your specialty, you would say?
I guess so.
I don't know. That's your page, man. Like you're every page, which is amazing, by the way. I just love, like it has a certain aesthetic to it. And I noticed this pattern. It's very cinematic because I'm like into film as a director. So when I look at your page, and that's part of the reason I should say why, we like, I was dying to connect with you is because, there's one thing to be talented. There's one thing to have like a vision. But when it aligns with like someone like myself, like I like the aesthetic, I like what I see, like there's a certain grit that you offer, like even with the lights. And like even with my storytelling, like I'll obviously show you like maybe some films and stuff like that, but you can kind of see like a reminiscence, like cinematography, you know, in a way. Um, but yeah, man, I wanted to just mention also, like, you made a very good point. I'm so happy you said it with regards to discussing art and creativity in high school. So you and I, you know, like the generations now, you would agree, are probably different, right?
Yeah.
They're much more open about art. They're much more open about,
Yeah.
you know,
Even
just creative
like,
expression.
in terms like even fashion stuff. Like,
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
fashion, everyone's so open about it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no judgment, right? And I was
Yeah,
talking to even with, like, because my sister, she's about, I would say 5 years younger, right? So she's like the Gen Z category, right? And just that, you know, generation alone, you have friends that encourage people to pursue like singing while they play soccer at night. Like it's a crazy world. You know what I mean? Like when you and I were in high school, we didn't have that. We had very business oriented, very like, you know, what are you going to do with your life? Don't be a loser. Like if you're in the arts, you know what I mean? Like, let's be honest, like that's the attitude. And the reason why I asked you that question, it wasn't a trick question or anything like that. I was curious if you had that same impression. But you did. And I was the same way as you, is that you probably had that desire, that burning passion in you. And look at us, right? I had no idea you were in photography. You had no idea probably I love film. And if I did voice it to you, it was very minimal because of that peer pressure, right? Because we were kids. We wanted to fit in, and, you know, we were in business class, right? And we thought that's what we needed to do. And look at us now, right? Fast forward 10 years, you're doing amazing content. I'm impressed by your following as well. You know, I've just seen your growth, and I'm really happy, like, you stuck to your guns. You kind of like made it happen with this passion. So after, like, with regards to photography, you're saying like you tried it out in your own neighborhood, and then it kind of just blossomed from there. Like you just kind of kept going with it.
Yeah. So like I didn't really want to. It was the start of the pandemic, so like everything was really strict. I didn't even think like people would be outside, right? There was this time when everything, even on social media, you would see everything like stay at home, everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, you wouldn't even like, I wouldn't even try to go to Toronto. So the first time I went to Toronto was like Bathurst and Steeles. It's actually where I grew up. Like when I first came to Canada, that was the first place me and my family lived.
Nice.
Yeah, and then just right across the street is Toronto, right? So you can get like TTC buses and just more people in general.
Awesome. Yeah. So you just kind of felt you found more subjects as you went along, like things that you could photograph, right?
Yeah.
Went from a family trip to the urban landscape. Yeah, that's quite a significant progress, like I said, right, in a transition. And I think a lesson taken from that story, right, is just pick up a camera. You never know where you'll end up, right? Because that's essentially what you did, right? You didn't overthink it. But it is very interesting, actually, that you said you never really thought of Toronto as like something that like a piece of motivation or an inclination to get into the arts or like photography. You know what I mean? Because you see it on Instagram all the time. You know, people going crazy with like Toronto, or you would think like because we live near a big city, that'd be the greatest opportunity. But I kind of like your approach to it. It was, you know, you kind of start small, start personal, really, like more intimate photography with the family, where you grew up, more of a sentimentality. And maybe you know, going so far as this, because that's how I view myself as a filmmaker, you probably did it because you also want a story to tell, right? Like all your photos tell a story, even though they're not moving, even though like, I believe there's not many descriptive captions. You just have to look at the image and you know exactly what's happening, right?
Yeah, I've been going less on the captions recently because as people that look at the photo and analyze it for themselves. Whereas in the past, I would probably kind of like describe the whole process, like describe the whole scene, then describe how I edit it. I just want to leave it more up to imagination right now.
That's so smart, man. Yeah, because and that's what they teach us in film too, right? It's a visual medium. You gotta let the audience kind of like use their imagination to explore it. They'll get more out of it, right? So I want to know from you, like, why photography, not videography, film? Like, why do you feel it's such an important medium to explore? Or why did you choose to explore it?
Photography. I just like to capture the moment, I guess.
Yeah.
And in general, like when I was younger, I was always like watching films, even now, like films is kind of my pastime. Like I don't do much video games and like any of that stuff.
Right.
So if I have downtime, I'm watching films or I'm watching Netflix, right?
Nice. Yeah, for same here.
Yeah.
Man. Well, I still
Like
play my video
I just
games.
want to
PS5. Yeah.
Well, like I have a PS4 beside me and I haven't touched it like probably only once a year.
Hey, it is what it is, right? Like you got to find video games. People forget, like it's quite an investment. Like you don't realize it. Like when you were younger, you just play whatever. Time would fly. But as you as you discover new hobbies, photography, film, whatever have you, you realize it takes a lot out of the day, you know, like it's a dedication. Like if you sit down and play a video game, you know what I mean? You're killing time that you could be spending on either your passion or another hobby, right? So
yeah.
But yeah, I feel you on that, man. Like capturing the moment. Do you think you'll transition to video, or do you enjoy? Because the reason why I ask this is because I've met people that love film or videography, but they don't like photography. And I'm one of them. Like I love photography, but I could never like do what you do in this sense. Like I love motion. I love movement, telling
like
the story
like the whole scene, right?
Yeah, like a sequence of events. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Right?
Yeah, I like adding music to things. Not that you can't do this with photography. People are doing crazy stuff with reels now. But I'm just saying is like I can see like it's a different taste, right? Like a different preference. Like you like photography because it's like a still image. You've already explained yourself that people can use their imagination, right? Picture says 1,000 words, the famous saying, where you can like kind of just absorb what it's saying. Me, it's like, not that I want to tell the audience what's going on, but I kind of like the idea that I'm like manipulating or like pulling the strings.
You can direct your
exactly
video.
Exactly, man. Yeah. So that's really cool, man. Like, yeah, it's about capturing the moment. So you see yourself like right now, just photography, correct?
Yeah.
Like that's something that you're really passionate about. Nice. Well, yeah, man, that's amazing. I
enjoy films and all that, but I don't see myself making films.
Hey, man.
Like you hear many photographers say, I'm like, I want to transition to film, or that's why their photos are very cinematic. Whereas my photos are cinematic, I think mainly based on the lighting. And I also
yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
I don't shoot wide open, so lighting is important in my photos to create that contrast.
Oh yeah, your lighting is the first thing that again stuck out to me. Do you watch Euphoria?
I don't know.
On HBO?
Okay. Yeah, I saw it on Crave, but I haven't watched it. Is it good?
Oh, it's good. And the reason why, and you're gonna love me even more when I compare you to this. I'm not kidding, man. Like when I watch some of the part of the reason why I love this show, is the style, right? Like the story, but also the style. Basically, it's about like, you know, teenagers navigating life, sex, drugs, love, whatever you have, right? But it's told in a more raw, authentic way. Something like that we would kind of like remember from high school, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean? Like it's not sugar coated. It's not as glamorous. Not in a bad way or anything like that. Like, you know, we didn't have like that crazy experience or anything like that. It's just more like just how in which the characters talk and interact. But nevertheless, the style, like the shots and the lighting, it's told typically at night, like the setting, it's just like that dark, grimy feel. Your lighting, I don't know. It kind of stuck out to me a lot, you know, like it's first of all, it's very challenging. That's why I commend you on taking night photography, because it's very challenging at night. I don't have a strength in that. And, you know, I guess as I get better, I'll like, you know, develop something, but the fact that you can pull it off speaks wonders, because, you know, when you start off, like you don't want to be taking shots at night with the grainy film filter and like, you know, things just not coming across clear.
I think it was the opposite for me. Like
it was the opposite, eh? Wow.
And like, just like, I really like a urban scene at night, just like cars at night. It's very like beautiful for me.
I'm saying but that's what I'm saying. Like if you have the talent like yourself, like to pull it off, go crazy, right? Like execute. But for me, it's like that. I think that's what I mean by like why I, you know, was so pulled and fascinated by your work is, you're right. Like you don't have to necessarily move to film, or you know people that have like photographers, they take cinematic shots. But I can see why, right? Like I can see why you would have a hand in cinematography, right? Or on set, because you create these things called like reference shots, right? Like if someone wants to capture a mood or a landscape, you know, we would use your photography. I don't know if all this is new or like first time you've been hearing this, but I'm just telling you, man, as a filmmaker, like you have something going, man. And that's why I'm so happy to have you here to talk about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with content creation and brand awareness, right? I want to talk about that, right? They're vital aspects. And you've been doing your part, marketing yourself, maintaining your presence on social media. The most impressive quality from your profile, other than like the captivating photography that I mentioned, is the consistency in your posting. You know what I mean? Like you're like, you're even more than me, man. Like I used to post, now I'm working all kinds of different jobs, but like I used to try my best to post as consistently as possible, any sort of content, but you're like hammering out photos and they're always different and they always tell a story. It's always in a sequence. You know what I mean? So I want to know, like, what is the reason behind this? Like, why are you posting so much? What's going on?
I think I just want to show as, like, when I first started posting, I said to myself, if I do it consistently, I would post it every other day. So I would post, I'd have time to like engage.
Yeah.
And then I'll have a day to like free my mind or whatever. So I wouldn't burn out. And I'll be posting the next day. So I never did single posts, not until like I felt I needed to, because I wasn't getting as much reach as I had in the past. But I think in terms of Instagram and consistency, it's like people don't expect you to post every day or even every other day. If you can like put out content every once a week, and you maintain the once a week, then you'll get your reach. Yeah. I find once I like maybe do the work or anything, if I had to push my post a day, or if I took a break in between, I changed my times. Like I used to post all my images at 10 a.m. in the morning, because this during the pandemic, like the second pandemic, like early 2021. Yeah, that's when I would get like the most engagement, in the morning.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. You have to like, I'm so happy you said that, right? Like you could be that guy, like, oh yeah, it's all about posting as much as possible. But I was caught up in that too, right? Especially in the pandemic. Like I was posting like crazy stuff, like 7 times a day, all kinds of different, like my content was, from drawings to like film stills, whatever, right? But I burned out very fast. I got really miserable because I couldn't keep up. And then I just didn't have fun doing it. My expectations were way too high. Like I thought I would get back the like the engagement I would want. And then I dialed it back and I said, man, you know what? Like, can I keep it up forever? No. Like I have other responsibilities. I have other priorities in my life. What I'm going to do is I'm going to post what I feel is quality. I'm going to post what speaks to me. But like you said, you don't post like once a month. You post like from a consistent basis, right? You find a happy medium in a way where it's not too minimal.
You find out something works best for you.
Exactly, right?
That's why people like will relate to you, and you don't feel you have to post every day.
Exactly, buddy. Yeah, and yeah, man, like that's so important. And I'm just so happy you found that like happy medium. Do you find like how, as a content creator, like, have you experienced any challenges, any judgment, any kind of pushback on your content? Has anyone give you any trouble?
No, because I don't know. Like my audience has always been everyone that like comments or likes my photos. Like it's all photography, so
right.
I don't have any outside reach really. So it's
that's good.
Yeah. So
those are indicators of progress too.
Yeah. So it's really positive.
Nice. I asked that because a lot of people, right, creatives or people that try to put themselves out there, they get a lot of harsh feedback, right? As you would know how evil the internet can be. So I was just curious, like if there was anyone like giving you judgment or like how you overcame that. But so far it's been a positive ride. Can't complain.
I never had anything negative.
Nice. Well, I was just going to say that's why the content's so good, right? With the content that good, who would be saying anything negative? It's so true, man. Like, right. And even if you do, like, not that you will, but like, let's say you do get a comment, they're speaking from a place of like their own negativity because.
Yeah. I don't think like,
right.
You have to look at comments that like importance. It's kind of like, you can read it and absorb it and change what you think, or you can just like keep on doing what you're doing, right? Just depends on how you look at things.
For sure. Yeah. You got to know where you stand too with your content, right? And have that confidence. So I'm so happy you have that that foothold. And but I want to know also, like, from you, because again, of your impressive consistency and your dedication to the platform, but also that you found like a confidence on the platform. What advice would you give to those creatives maybe like struggling to make content for themselves, or fear sharing something that might be judged?
Yeah, I say the most important is to make the content for yourself. Like, I've taken posts down that had the most engagement before.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't my favorite photo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I wanted my grid to be like how I want it to be.
Perceived.
Basically. Yeah.
So it's all about So putting things out there that's
and being
right.
true to yourself, and just showcasing what like the best things you like.
Awesome. Yeah, that's well put, man, because that's what it is, man. Like, you just got to like position yourself in the best way you can. But that was big of you, like, to take down something that had the most engagement. That's usually on Instagram, right? For vanity purposes, you just keep it there as like a trophy. But that's good, man. That's a true artist, because like you're always criticizing your own work, right? You're always like saying, it could have been better.
Yeah, you have to, because you have to like try to improve, or you always you want to improve.
Always. I believe it, man. I believe it for sure. And surrounding yourself, right, with the people that want to elevate your craft. That's a big thing that you mentioned, that you were posting things, and you have people commending you from the industry, right? Because that's another thing I wanted to talk to you about. If you were posting and it was just people from high school, or just your little circle, right, of friends, family, whatever have you, saying, oh, it's hype, it's fire, it'd be great, but it wouldn't make you grow, right? It wouldn't expand your creativity. It also wouldn't expand your engagement, your audience. And what I always tell people is, don't look at the people on Instagram that they post something. You know who I'm talking about, right? Like, there's people that they post something, everyone's like raving about it. But if you look closely, it's always their circle, right? What matters is when you have people from outside of your bubble, even outside of Toronto, that are like, whoa, like, what is this? And I'm sure, because I've seen your page, you've gotten a lot of praise for your work. And I think that's a true indicator of growth and progress as an artist. Would you agree?
I also find like social media, you kind of like, once you start out, you're looking for like-minded people, and they kind of push you, and you inspire them, and they inspire you as well. Yeah, that's what I find is like the biggest positive of Instagram. Even if like you might get burnout or anything, like, it's just seeing so many people do so many amazing things. You kind of want to do your own thing, and try to communicate and share your work.
Awesome, man. Yeah, no, that's so true. And it just because you and I, again, like, coming from high school, such a small bubble, you know what I mean, like, compared to like what it is now, like who we know and how we like the people we've networked with. And it just puts it into perspective, man, that you thought that was the world. You thought like, this is it, you got to know business, you got to know how to hustle. And the reality is no, like, there's a bigger world out there. There's a lot more people of different walks of life that that share the same source of creativity, right? That same purpose for life. So I'm so happy you found. Did you find a lot of like, did they end up becoming some of these people friends, or are just like a professional basis, or
no, it's
anyone
just
from Toronto?
Online
just
based.
Online. Nice.
Yeah, I haven't been with other people like taking photos. It's okay. It's mainly by myself, because I do it when it's convenient for my time.
Yeah. Hey, I respect that.
Wake up early just so I don't have to. I can beat the traffic.
Buddy, I love your style, man. Like, why wait? It's like those people that would go to the gym and they say, I gotta go with my boys. It's like, by the time you get there, you have other stuff to do. You know what I mean? Like, why don't you just go on your own time? Manage your own time as a grown.
Yeah, I would work 5 days a week, and if I had that day off and I was feeling it, then I would go.
There you go, man. Yeah, because if you go with someone else, right? Like, not that it's a bad thing, but you do it so often, right? You have to wait for their time, wait for them to come, whatever. And it's an inconvenience, right? So I kind of like your style, man. Yeah, you're very independent. So keep doing that. Keep doing you. So I want to know now, as you continue your journey as an urban street photographer, is that what you would call yourself? Urban street night photographer?
I would just say photo enthusiast.
Photo enthusiast. I love it. Okay. So as you would continue this journey as a photo enthusiast, do you intend to transition this hobby into a career, or has it already begun as a career? Like, have you started the steps? Are you doing freelance? What's going on?
I haven't done any freelance, but I've been like I had like a coworker reference me for some photography job.
There you go.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
I haven't spoken with him yet, but like it's in the works.
But I'm saying like that must feel amazing, right? Started off as something that you did for family trips, and now you're already getting referenced, right? Something that I would say, speaking from my behalf, like when I was starting off in film years ago, never thought I would actually have people DMing me and saying, "Hey, could you do like a promo shoot for me?" So you know what? Yeah, no, I'm serious, man. Like I was just talking to a client yesterday, and I just take a moment, like not that I'm like superstar here, but it's surreal, man. Like it's a hobby, it's a passion, and then it ends up becoming a business, because I have a business, 94 Production Incorporated. I started that right back in 2020, like same time you were discovering your passion as well. And yeah, man, it's just amazing, right? Like just to think, like back in high school, it was always like lingering on our minds, this creativity, and just never had an outlet, never had that chance to unleash it until now. So it's great, man. So I want to know, like, what is your intention of becoming a photographer? Like, how can your content bring value to people in the arts and abroad? Like, what's the legacy of Daniel Chan?
Legacy?
What do you want to do with these photos, man? Like, is this just something that you do as, to fulfill your passion, or is this something that you look to inspire people one day, like people that are younger than us, that they'll look at your page and say, I want to be like Daniel Chan and take amazing shots, or I want to learn more about his photography and how he reached that level of quality? I'm serious, man. I'm fascinated with this subject about legacy. Like that's something what drives me, what pushes me as a content creator, a filmmaker, first and foremost, I should say, and why I started 94 Productions. It's a brand, it's a legacy that I want to like leave behind. I've always been fascinated by history. So I want to know from you, do you have that same intention?
Right now, honestly, it's just a passion.
Just a passion, no worries.
I've just been doing it like before work or after work.
Gotcha, man.
Even like I've been starting to shoot more film because like the film lab is close by to where I work.
Okay, cool.
Like trying to make the most of my opportunities and like improve the craft.
Awesome. Yeah. And again, the only reason why I bring up the legacy is because everyone's different, right? Some artists, they're like, oh no, I'm doing this because I need to, leave something behind for my family or whatever. And then there's some people like yourself that are like, I'm in it for the art, for the medium. I love the industry, right? Yeah. Yeah. And you never know, one day that could change, right? Like in 10 years, you could say, no, like I'm working with this amazing model, or like, whatever have you subject. And I was hired by this company, and I feel like, I could do something greater with this, talent that I have. So life is long, right? You never know, but it's amazing to see like how humble you are, how modest you are about your craft, considering the talent that you have with this passion. And yeah, like what you will be capable of going forward. So, Daniel, I want to thank you again for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
It's great to catch up. But really, for me, like just really intriguing to hear more about your journey. Fascinating. Always love to hear about creators.
Yeah, same for you. When I first saw your I've been following your Instagram since I think 2014, right? And
yeah, something like that.
When I first saw the video stuff, I was, this is interesting, and like I was surprised at first because I didn't expect this, right? I don't think
right from me, right? Because again, and I'm flattered that you say that, because again, right, going back, like when we were in high school, man, I never talked about film with you, right? Did I ever talk to you about film? Did I bring it up once?
Not film, just like movies.
movies, right? But like what I'm saying is,
yeah,
Tarantino. See, you're an OG, man. See, I'm telling you, man. No, I'm serious, because everyone now, right? Like all my friends or colleagues now, they'll like everyone knows I love Tarantino. But you remember like way back when I was like 17, when I was a nobody. No, I really appreciate that, man. And I'm so honored like to have you on the podcast, and thank you so much for complimenting my work. I'd love to, collaborate, and just work together, like some way, somehow in the future. I think it'd be really exciting, as photographers, as videographers, just these really unique creative forces. Like you have an eye, I have an eye, and I think we could really make some magic together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course, man. So having said that, thank you again, Daniel Chan, the photo enthusiast, for coming on the podcast and sharing his journey. And we'll talk soon.